Stop making sense. In the midst of self-inquiry, dialectic emerges. The pendulum of the mind alternates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. Carl Jung. Leading with affection. This article will be short. I need to take off a few days during this wonderful Venus retrograde. We just hit the midpoint on August 13th when Venus will initiate the journey back to being a night star. For me, this 42nd day period has been and still is a chance to reflect and dive into the depths of my being. It's an opportunity to uncover the hidden treasures that define my uniqueness and creativity, allowing me to integrate them more fully. I find myself in a profound connection with something genuinely invaluable to me, my freedom. Every facet of it, from the tangible to the intangible. The purpose of my creative expression gives me an incredible amount of joy, even when times are challenging. The upcoming new moon in Leo is intended to emphasize Venus' journey through an awareness of the capacities we hold as individuals to create a unique journey of creative expression, yielding and igniting inner radiance. Between paragraphs and quotes, there are bits and pieces connected and disconnected, making sense or not. This sense-making belongs to the eye of the beholder, for the aim of these writings is purely a reflective, personal, inner dialogue that I happen to be willing to share. Prior to the emergence of something new that could evolve into significance, a juxtaposition is often crafted. Wisdom lies neither in fixity nor in change, but in the dialectic between the two. Octavio Paz. Dialectics or polemics? Within the realm of metamorphoses, a captivating interplay unfolds where juxtaposition, dialectic interrelationships, and clashes or perspectives meet. This convergence fuels the pursuit of harmonious integration, delicately attuned to the nuance of time and space. Evolution is influenced by the environment in which it takes place. Organisms need to adapt to their surroundings and find ways to integrate new traits or structures in a way that suits the demands of their environment. These principles encapsulate the essence of epigenetics. When humans attune themselves to the frequency or vibration of their surroundings, the evolving outcome might encompass qualities of heightened awareness. This state of being extends to how we interact with ourselves on those nearby, as their presence can shape our behaviors and responses. We could engage in polemics or decide on civilized ways to diverge and explore a variety of outcomes without having to unload the weapons. In ancient Greek times, the crafts of rhetoric and polemics were used to convince audiences and dismantle opposing arguments. Can we as individuals immerse ourselves in the practice of dialectics, attentively embracing a range of perspectives and nurturing an environment for open dialogue? This pathway has a potential to spark innovation, catalyzing a transformative shift that results in a harmonious realignment of all life forms. Open emergent space gives way to creation. The sun is our light. Without its life force, we cease to be. Thus, as I dedicate myself to honoring its rhythmic journey, synchronizing my inner time with the changing seasons, I enjoy Venus remaining time in the underworld, seeking a reconnection and brand new relationship to my essence, a preparation for whatever humanity requires of me as a human being, all for the greater good. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. This is from the Ecclesiastes. When it comes to engaging in systematic reasoning, exposition, and argumentation, it takes skill to effectively bring together divergent and conflicting concepts. The goal is to find harmony amidst discord, and this is achieved through the careful exploration and analysis of opposing ideas. Ultimately, the pursuit of truth and resolution is what drives this method of discourse. Anarchy, my collection of chatbots, third revised version. Quote, I would never die for my beliefs because I might be wrong. The time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. War does not determine who is right, only who is left. The fundamental cause of the trouble is that in the modern world, the stupid are cocksure, while the intelligent are full of doubt. Bertrand Russell. Enchanted, pronounced, and delivered. Sacred space is the earthly image of the cosmos. And I pasted an image of Stonehenge, which I did as part of this past weekend. I attended a sacred geometry class, and this is part of what I did. It's a beautiful image. Then I write, to comprehend this reality, all that is necessary is the quadrivium: a ruler, a compass, a pencil, an eraser, and a piece of paper. Quote, our experience of time is not linear, but rather a continuous flow of duration. Our feelings and sensations are intimately connected to this durational experience. Henri Bergson. Then there's an image of Stonehenge. And it says, creation is the act of turning chaos into order. The sacred space is the earthly image of the cosmos, of the orderly universe molded from the disordered matter. Quote, all our sense organs function in response to the geometrical or proportional, not quantitative, differences inherent in the stimuli they receive. For example, when we smell a rose, we are not responding to the chemical substance of its perfume, but instead to the geometry of its molecular construction. That is to say, any chemical substance that is bonded together in the same geometry as that of the rose will smell as sweet. Robert Lawlor from Sacred Geometry. Then there is an illustration on the three realms and one of the sun. Just created them today. Quote, the traditional esoteric worldview divides the universe onto 7 levels of being. The lowest is physical matter, the foundation of all activities and all the changes we perceive with our senses. It is the level at which the resonance of material entities, including musical instruments, to the descending current of power released by a creative will emanating source becomes audible as a tone, that is, as the complex vibration of the material body or vocal organ. Dane Rudyard. Another quote. This is quote festival. So, it's not a problem of getting people to express themselves, but of providing little gaps of solitude and silence in which they might eventually find something to say. Repressive forces don't stop people expressing themselves, but rather force them to express themselves. What a relief to have nothing to say, the right to say nothing, because only then is there a chance of framing the rare and even rarer thing that might be worth saying. Gilles Deleuze, Negotiations, 1972-1990. Processes don't resolve into things. In the realm of the dialectical practices, the interplay between opposing concepts uncovers wisdom that it isn't confined to fixity or change, but thrives in their dynamic equilibrium. Engaging in systematic reasoning demands adeptness, a willingness to compromise, a curiosity to harmonize conflicting ideas, thereby discovering unity amidst divergence. The continuous flow of time and our feelings' connections to it create a unique experiential reality. Certainty and doubt coexist in the pursuit of knowledge, where beliefs are questioned and experience is valued. Our senses respond to geometrical proportions and stimuli, influencing our perception. The concept of law goes beyond mere knowledge, affecting us through action and consequence. To trust ourselves requires an emptiness of ideas and surrender to natural law. Material resonance mirrors the creative will, illustrating the interconnectedness and tangible and the intangible. Through these diverse perspectives, a richer understanding of reality, discourse, and existence emerges. Are you ready for the emotional space where you are called to be your most sovereign being and serve humanity as such? I'm going to read from the notes. This is the end of the article. The sun and the moon at gate 4, line 5 in the Ashna are currently in the process of formulating a new relationship aimed at facilitating creative outlets. This connection supplies the necessary energy for addressing the answers, solutions, and inquiries that have arisen thus far. Simultaneously, the Earth at gate 49, line 5 carries the energy required for revolutionary changes deeply grounded in principles and standards. This configuration reflects a robust drive for justice and fairness, promoting reform and how we relate to the needs of the community and ensuring its long-term support. This is happening on August 16th, which is the new moon in Leo. In the astrological context, Mars and Mercury in Virgo share a balsamic aspect. However, Mercury is about to turn retrograde and they don't converge until November 1st in Scorpio. This period encourages the messenger, represented by Mercury, to adopt introspection and precision when establishing new connections. This atmosphere also fosters the flourishing of perception and intuition. Everything that has been slowly simmering is gradually taking form. When the time is ripe, these developments can be expressed in ways that they were previously unimaginable. Footnote number 3. Things are in continuous motion. This is the root of pure immanence, and this is true not only of sensible entities but of thoughts. The attribute of thought, like the attribute of extension, is in continuous infinite motion, but equally important as the fact that processes don't resolve into things is the fact that the contradiction only exists in the mind. This can't be stated clearly enough. Contradiction exists only in the mind, insofar as the mind is unable to adequately see the relations that appear to be contradictory. Two contradictory things can't actually coexist. That's what a paradox is. But equally important is the fact that processes don't resolve into things, is the fact that contradiction only exists in the mind. Things seem contradictory only because we have failed to adequately grasp the full face of the universe, the entire infinity of causes, that it is in fact nothing but the entirety of existence, the substance itself. Hence, Deleuze's firm, almost disdainful reference to opposing representations rather than saying contradictions. He wants to clearly insist that contradictions are opposing ideas, in the mind, representations. And there is also synthesis in Deleuze's conception. In fact, synthesis is a vital part of the process. It's just not the end point of the process. Just as in this conception, identity is not the resolution of a dialectical process, but it is the beginning, insofar as our aim is the elaboration of difference and not the resolution of contradiction into sameness. This is all taken from a blog as an answer to a question regarding Gilles Deleuze's take on identity, synthesis, and dialectics, and his book, Difference and Repetitions. And this was answered by somebody called Fact Theory Questions. Well, everybody, I'm going to have a trip back home to Colombia, see my mom, and I'll be back probably next week with more, articles probably about AI. I have no idea what I'm going to write about. I never know. But, enjoy this new moon. It's a very creative one. So take care. Bye-bye.